pan-seared chicken, roasted lobster tail. When I tell you this is the perfect dinner idea, and I'm going to show you exactly how I made it. First thing I did was go ahead and get me some chicken breast, and I did clean it off with a little bit of cool water and vinegar. After I cleaned it off, I sliced it down the middle in 2 pieces because it was kind of thick, and I'm just going to go ahead and season it with some of my seasonings I like to use, which is going to be some Tony seasoning. I did add some garlic powder as well because you got to have that garlic powder. In addition to that garlic powder, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on some parsley just because I like the color that it gives to it. After I added my parsley, I went on ahead and added in some of that paprika because I love the color and I also love the flavor that paprika brings, so I went on ahead and added in some of that as well. In addition to that paprika, I am going to go ahead and add in some of this Harlem garlic pepper. If you haven't tried it, don't walk but run to the supermarket and go ahead and get you some. After that, I flipped my chicken over and I did the same exact seasonings to the other side of it. So this is how your chicken should look once it's seasoned, and you can use whatever seasonings you like. Those are just my seasonings that I prefer to use when I'm making chicken. Now that I got my chicken nice and seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and get me a pan, put a little bit of oil in there, and then we're going to go ahead and start cooking our chicken. Going to put our chicken down just like this and make sure that it's on a nice high temperature because we're trying to get a nice sear on that chicken. Once I get my chicken in there, then it's time for me to go ahead and start working on our other ingredients. And for the other ingredients, we're going to start working on preparing our lobster tail. We're also going to go ahead and steam some rice. And in addition to steaming the rice, we're going to go ahead and steam some veggies as well. After I let my chicken sear on one side, I went on ahead and flipped it over, and this is how it's looking so far. So now we're just going to go ahead and continue to let that cook, and we're going to put that to the back of the stove, and we're going to go ahead and start working on our lobster tail. Now for the lobster, what I'm going to do is first is take off the legs of the lobster. You do not have to do this part. This is completely optional. It's just something that I like to do. So I'm going to make sure I go ahead and remove all of the legs off my lobster tail. Once I get the legs removed off the lobster tail, then it's time for me to go ahead and fluff my lobster tail. Now, in my opinion, it is super easy to fluff a lobster tail. First thing you're going to do is go ahead and cut down the center of the shell. And what I'm using is my kitchen scissors, and you don't want to cut all the way through. You just want to cut the top layer. We want to keep the bottom layer of the lobster tail shell intact. Once I cut through, I'm just going to go ahead with my fingers and gently pull it apart down the middle, making an opening so the meat part of the lobster can come through. Once I have an opening big enough to get the lobster meat through, I'm going to go ahead and use my bottom finger, my thumb finger, to remove the lobster meat from the bottom part of the shell gently. Then I'm going to close the lobster tail back together, the shell part, and just let the lobster meat lay on top of the tail shell. After that, I'm going to go ahead, clean off my lobster tail, and I'm going to season it with basically some of the same seasonings that I use for the chicken, which is going to be a little bit of parsley. I am going to go ahead and add some garlic powder to it, and I did add a little bit of Tony seasoning as well. Once I added everything to it, put a little bit of butter on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven and let it roast. Now while my lobster tail is roasting, I'm going to go ahead and check on my chicken, and my chicken was just about done. So I went on ahead, took that out, let it rest, and once it rests for about 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and slice our chicken. When I tell you, this chicken was so good. It came out absolutely delicious. It was still moist and juicy on the inside. And you know how a lot of people say they don't like chicken breast because it's dry. This chicken breast was not dry at all, absolutely moist and delicious. And now it's time for us to go ahead and build our plates because everything is done. Went on ahead, got me a bowl, put my rice there. In addition to the rice, I'm going to put the spinach and tomatoes and onions that we steamed just like that on the side of it. Once I get those veggies on there, I am going to go ahead and get that chicken that we sliced up, and we're just going to lay the chicken right on top of the rice. And once I get the chicken laid on top of the rice, I am going to go ahead and add in the lobster tail, and I'm just going to add my lobster tail right on top of my veggies. In addition to that, we're going to go ahead and melt us a little bit of butter to have on the side for a little bit of dipping sauce. And when I tell you, this was absolutely delicious, and dinner was done in under 30 minutes. So if you love lobster, chicken, and a quick and easy weekday meal, definitely